Split the difference OG style.
Oh yeah, just the two of us before Silver butted in.
Just the two of us. What did
So
he say he had going on? He can't make it?
he said he's been on call for work for the past 2 weeks and
Oh, yeah,
got
yeah.
called in. So you were telling me that you're taking a break from YouTube after this for a little bit.
Yeah, just probably for a couple of days. I'm in over my head, man. I'm overstimulated. And I mean, over the course of time, I built relationships that I consider to be friendships, but I've given so much to that and so much to YouTube that I feel like it's been interfering with how good of a father and a husband I can be. And it's been a mess. And then there's just been a mess of things going on lately in life, and it's been crazy. But yeah, I'm thinking about just taking a at least a few days off and try to even get like recentered and motivated again. I don't even feel like motivated to do it. I just, like I don't want to at this point.
Yeah. Is
It
it
feels
anything
like
in
a
particular,
chore.
or like are a bunch of people just bugging
No.
you? Is it the comments, the negativity, or like what's
No,
going on?
no. I don't really get a whole lot of negative comments, honestly. It's not anybody in particular, man. It's just overstimulating sometimes. That's
Yeah.
all. It really is. Like it's just because you want to make them happy. You know what I mean? There's people that are paying like a monthly subscription to my channel. I want to make them happy. I want to make sure that they're good. I want to make sure that I'm taking care of them where I can. And then there's people that I've literally, you know, built friendships with, man, and I want to make sure that they're happy too. But all during the while, I can't forget about my responsibilities and my roles in real life, you know,
For sure.
and it's just been overstimulating. What have you been up to, man? You been good?
Yeah, just work stuff. I had an interesting conversation with one of our old friends from early on in the channel that you watched, I think. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I guess for those uninitiated, which is probably everybody watching this, one of our first few videos, one of Nelson's, I mean,
Oh,
associates.
associate turned nemesis turned associate.
Yeah,
You talking about 2P1? Yeah.
yeah, 2P1. Yeah. Um,
It's my guy.
So he basically reacted to an early conversation Nelson and I had, called me Nelson's gay liberal friend, accused me of basically trying to brainwash Nelson to becoming a demonic liberal. Um, and we made a video responding, and we're like, well, let's just talk about it. The whole thing with the channel is we're supposed to like split the difference,
Split
whatever,
the
talk to
difference.
people we disagree with. And he was like, nah, I don't got nothing to say. No gay liberals. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So we had a couple
Yeah.
videos back and forth, made some snide comments, and basically left it there. Um,
Mm.
and then I think Nelson, you kind of chatted with him behind the scenes and like reconciled everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll give some backstory to that. I mean, if we're going back to that time frame, I wanted to first of all, I'm a very peaceful person. I'm all about the peace, and I was like, listen, I got three options. I can ignore it, or I can engage, or I can try to make the situation what it was before. And I felt like I could do so. Um, so I just reached out and talked to him, and he was actually really cool about it. I was like, "Listen, I just had to think on it." Sometimes as men, I feel like women are the same way. Honestly, sometimes just as people, I think that we got to put our pride to the side and think about, did I do something to wrong this person, and then go back and look, and it's like, all right, I can see how he would have taken it that way. So let me apologize on my part. Then he apologized on his part, and we just mutually respectfully kind of shook hands and turned around and walked away.
I never got an
So
apology for the record.
well, to my surprise, he puts up this live that says, come in, what was it, like, if you disagree with me, come up about any of these topics. And I
Yeah,
was like,
Silver in
wow.
our group chat posted. He's like, Dylan, get in here. And he's like, and I was like, bro, I'm not trying to start any beef again.
Yeah.
But I sat there watching it for like 30 minutes, and it was like it was like some of his viewers that already agreed with him, and they were like, I don't know, one of them tried to make a cringy joke about women and just completely whiffed it, and I was like, "This is just not good content, bro." And he's like, "Yeah, if anyone in the chat wants to come disagree with me, come on now." And I was like, I just put some in the chat. I was like, "Yeah, if I'm welcome, I'll hop in and we can talk politics." And he immediately
Yeah.
kicked the other two dudes out, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Shit, I guess we're in there." And
Yeah, I got
I,
that text from you. I'm going live with 2P1 now. I was like,
yeah,
"Yes, dude, yes." I was excited.
I
I
think
liked it, bro. I thought it was great.
really.
Oh man, I thought that was good, man. I was sitting in here like me and my wife were watching our show, doing our little nightly routine, and I was like, "You might as well just hang this up, bro. Dylan's going in." So I pull it up, and y'all are the I mean, the shit y'all are talking about. I mean, Lindsay lasted about 35 seconds, and she was like, "I don't want to hear any of this," and I was like, "All right, cool." And she didn't understand the backstory side of it too, but I just thought it was the craziest thing ever. So I got on there and I commented in there. I was like, "What in the broken algorithm is going on here?" And bro, yeah, I think you did really well, and I think he did really well holding up each other's beliefs. I thought it was good, man. I thought it was really good content.
I thought it
I
was
would like to
good.
see more content like that in our little corner, you know?
Yeah, I thought it was a good conversation. I wish there were a couple things, a couple points I feel like I could have made better. I mean, I honestly it wasn't prepared for it all is the thing. Like
Well,
I
to
didn't
be
even
fair,
think
I felt like he could have dunked on you a couple of times too. I think you walked into some I can't remember what it was now though, man. It's been so long, but I definitely feel like there were a couple of moments where I was like, "Oh, dude." Like but not but the thing is you wouldn't agree that he could dunk on you. I just felt like in that situation with those people in the comments, you almost walked into it like 3 times.
Mhm.
But same with him. I feel like he walked into it and you could have dunked on him as well. Me and
Yeah,
him
I
talked
mean,
about that actually.
oh, what do you say?
The same thing. He was like,
Oh,
"I feel like we missed opportunities to dunk on each other, which would have been great." And I was like, "Well, with time, you know what I mean? If y'all do it again, I feel like but that's the dopest part about it, man. The dopest part about it is like the opportunity to do it again and wanting to do it again. I feel like he wants to do it again.
yeah, I mean,
I could be wrong,
he
but
posted a poll, and it seemed like most of the people in the poll said they were interested in it again. I
mm,
posted a comment, thanked him, and he said he'd love to chat again. I don't know if that was just formality by him, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, the thing is, I wasn't trying. Like, I Silver, I know wanted it to be blood sports, and he wanted him to insult me, and Silver's in the comments
yeah,
trying to instigate, like, oh, I bet Dylan can outshoot 2P1 or whatever. Um, but I wasn't I don't know, I wasn't in it for that because I was just kinda curious, like, after having listened to him talk for, like, 30 minutes about his politics, he's, like, so
mhm,
different than everybody else, and
mhm,
it just, like I wanted to see where he was trying to go with the world, a and
yeah,
that's really what I was trying to get to, but I didn't really ask it properly, I think. I was like, "You're not a compromising guy. So, like, what compromises would you make going forward to be part of, like, a larger political movement?" And, I mean, just because he's so different than your normal even, like, someone, like, just
he is.
mainstream MAGA voter who's like, "Yeah, because the mainstream really is like, they think the deportation stuff has kinda gone too far, but he's like, he doesn't think
Mhm,
it's gone far enough. That was the one point I pushed him on. Um,
yeah.
but I thought it was good, it was fun.
And
Like I
I
said,
respect that, by the way. I respect it in a different sense. Like even if I disagree with a lot of what he said, I still respect it because it felt like he wasn't following anybody. It just felt like he was on his own accord, and I think that that's dope. I think it's dope when people are like not afraid to stand on their own, and I feel like you did the same thing. And it didn't sound like you followed anybody either in
yeah,
terms
I
of what
mean,
we see on the internet.
I mean, it seems like he aligns more with, like, Silver, like, America First type
Mhm.
movement, I guess you'd call it
Mhm.
now. Like
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes, all that. Um Then you're like,
But
I guess
also
whatever MAGA is
disagrees
you're
with him on
talking
a
about.
bunch of stuff too, right? From what he was saying, he was like,
I
"There's a
don't know
lot of
what he
stuff
really
Nick says that I don't agree with."
Yeah, he said that. I don't know exactly
Probably
what that would be. Well, I maybe he's talking about the fact that like Nick voted for Kamala. Because here's the thing, I think Nick
yeah.
is more like politically minded. So Nick understands
Mhm.
that if his coalition votes for Kamala or whoever the Democrat candidate is in 2028, then that will inherently give him a chance to take over the right side of the party.
Yes.
Because like what's happening right now with the Democrat Party is there's this like kind of vying for power where like there's some like far left people that are trying to like pull the party in that direction. There's the moderates, there's the like mainstream progressives that are all kind of vying for power, and whoever comes out on top in 2028 will like decide the direction of the party. But right now,
Mhm.
you have like Trump with an iron grip on the Republicans. So they know, Nick knows that if he can do maximum damage to them, break the coalition, then he can try to come out on
He
top.
can
It's like a
accomplish
it's like a
something.
gang war,
Yeah,
like you break up the
yeah.
dominant gang, and then the little gangs vie for control. Same thing. So that's
I
where Nick is
I
trying to
can't
go. But
say
but
yeah.
2P1 just could
He's
never vote
smart.
for a Democrat,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. I
ideologically. But Nick values the political power over the like principled not voting for
hey, beautiful.
Democrats.
I do think that, um I don't know, I think that it would surprise you how many people would be willing to vote Democrat if they knew that Democrat was what you say Democrat is a lot of times. Like, not just based off of, like, I don't know how to put this in words. Like, if it was really moderate and sold as moderate, I feel like more people would be willing to vote that way, even just to shake stuff up. So he might not align with all of the views or whatever, but I feel like if Democrats could sell themselves as moderate, I feel like people like 2P1 would vote Democrat in order to shake things up. But I could be wrong. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend. I think like a lot of what he's talking about, like in a way, he does like certain strong social programs. Like, and I wish we could have dug into that a little bit more. And I wish I had more examples on the top of my head because he was criticizing my like love of daddy government or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
which was funny, by the way.
yeah, well, and
So you love daddy government?
and I wish I need to rewatch it and figure out what point I was trying to build to, because we kind of did the thing, where we have through a bunch of different topics, and I wasn't really trying like taking notes at the time, so I couldn't like get
Mhm.
back. Um, but I wish I had prepared more examples of like good government programs that I could have given him because I don't think he's like fundamentally against government spending. Because the AI example is what I gave him of basically like it's pretty mainstream, at least in like the populist sides of the political aisle on both sides that are like
Mhm.
anti data center. Um, so I think he
What is
agreed with.
that, by the way? Like, what do you mean? Well, I heard you talking about that on there too. Like, you were like, the data centers are obviously kind of
Well,
whatever you
there's
said.
a
What
whole.
are you talking about?
Have you not seen all the controversies with data centers?
Well, no, and probably
Okay.
most of the viewers haven't.
Oh,
Maybe.
it's I mean, I would. Well, even Trump has talked about it. So there's this whole controversy with data centers, and it's like a multifaceted thing. But because all these AI companies and technology companies need basically like infinite processing power to run all of their new technologies, they just keep building these data
Okay.
centers that are just like basically huge warehouses just full of raw computing power, just huge
Okay.
amounts, like to the point where I don't know if I mean, you probably aren't aware because you're not like a computer guy, but you know what RAM is? Like
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
short-term memory of a computer? Like RAM
Yeah.
prices have gone up like 500% just because all of these companies are buying
What?
shitloads of RAM. So what used to cost like
Really?
$150 was for a while, I haven't checked recently, but was costing like $800 to $900. Like that's how much, like instead of like these consumer electronics
Damn.
companies, SanDisk, and there's a bunch of other ones that don't come to mind. Like they're literally just selling contracts to these huge AI companies that are saying like, hey, instead of us selling our products to consumers or to Best Buy to
Yeah.
sell to consumers, we're just going to sell you everything we make for like the next few years, and so all of the other stuff on the market is going way up. Um,
Ah, okay. So it like becomes
so
contractual. That's crazy.
so extent that is one aspect of it, but then the other aspect is a lot of these companies are trying to buy land in like rural areas like Port Wentworth, right? They're trying to do it
Mm,
there, and I'm sure all sorts of other areas, all over
okay.
Alabama, Georgia, everywhere. Basically, they're trying to buy huge swaths of land. They're trying to get tax write-offs because they're like, oh, we'll add a bunch of jobs, which in reality they're going to add like 100 construction jobs. But then once the construction's done, there's going to be like 5 to 10 engineers that watch it. Then there's huge power concerns because these AI, these huge, basically computer factories that are just running computers day in, day out, right, are just going to use huge amounts of power. They need huge amounts of water to cool it because a lot of the cooling is water based. So they siphon a lot of the
Damn.
water from, the aquifers and all the whatever, however we get our water. Um, Used to cool them. So it's a huge thing where like a lot of the people who live in these communities are like, listen, we don't want to risk our power bill going up because these people are going to use a shit ton of power, may drive up the price of power
Fair.
because the demand has gone up. So it's basically just the everyday person saying like, hey, we don't want to subsidize your fucking, AI overlords trying to take our jobs. Um,
Mhm.
and the only like government exists for that reason, basically to reel in corporate interests like that are going to have negative impacts on the everyday person. So
Do you
that was
feel
the
like
point
that's
of it.
kinda like Zillow buying houses and stuff like that?
um I think in a
Because that's
sense,
like just another example that came to my mind just then was
yeah, I think in a sense it's definitely something to consider. I don't feel as strongly as a lot of people do about that. Like it's that is one of those phenomenon that is like way over exaggerated. I think the biggest problem with housing is we just don't build enough. Like,
really?
yeah, well,
Well, where we're at is different, I guess.
I mean, you look at my neighborhood and I'm constantly seeing everybody, and to be fair, there is an argument for it because there's a lot of infrastructure issues as far as like roads and traffic and stuff. But everyone complains when apartment buildings are built, right? So you can't on one hand bitch about the price of housing, but then on the other bitch whenever people are building new houses in your area, right?
That
Like
is true.
you
Yeah.
got to build it somewhere, and we got to build more of it, otherwise the price will stay the same. So there's this phenomenon where like and Trump even addressed it like which he said two completely contradictory things because there's this problem where a lot of people in America view a house as an investment, right? Which a
Right.
house is a place to live. A house, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be your primary investment, but unfortunately a lot of Americans view their house as their do you need a text? What do you text?
I'm listening to you. I'm just sharing our laugh.
Oh, okay.
Um,
um
I'm with you.
they view a house as an investment. So if you want to protect your investment, it's like I have any particular thing, I have this knife, right? And
Okay.
if I want to protect the value of this knife, what do? I lobby to make sure that whoever made this knife doesn't make any more. That's the first thing you
Okay.
can do to make sure that this knife has more value
It's
or
valuable.
keeps its value
Yeah.
better, right? So
Yeah.
that's what people are doing with their houses. They don't want more housing because they know that the golden egg they're sitting on with their fucking 2 point whatever percent interest rate will
Is
continue to
yeah.
appreciate. So Trump has even said, like, we want all these people to stay wealthy. We want you to keep your wealth, but we also want to keep new housing cheaper. The problem is you can't do both because
Mm.
houses on the market are also old houses. So, like,
Unless you do a 50-year mortgage.
which is a complete scam, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not good.
yeah. So,
Don't do that.
yeah, you end up wasting a ton of money for very little benefit with the 50-year mortgage. So that was the point with data centers to say like we need government intervention in at least one way that I knew he would agree with. It
Mhm.
was to basically try to
Mhm.
find some common ground. But I mean, I don't know how much I don't know how much 2P1 is into like forever chemicals and stuff like that, but there's a lot of regulation that the government has done on stuff like that that's very important where
Yeah.
like huge factories will endlessly pollute farmland unless somebody steps in to stop them.
Yeah. I would like to have him up here, man. It would be cool to have him on our show as well. I feel like, are you? But I think it's important that people know because I think that's what got misconstrued in the first place was like it came across. I guess in the way that I said what I said, I guess it came across as like because I read comments around that time where I was like, I feel like you should have jumped on the show. You didn't jump on the show to actually speak with us about this. The comments kind of boosted him in that, or boosted in that direction of like, yeah, there's no need to sit down with them because X, Y, and Z. Like they're never going to agree with you, and you're never going to agree with them. But I think with y'all's conversation, he saw that there's still value in that because it's okay that you're going to continue to think the way you think. He'll continue to think the way he thinks, as long as there's cordial conversation. And I think that that's important to share with the world. I mean, that's honestly why I'm so passionate about this channel. But I think it would be cool to have him up here as well.
I think another aspect of it is a lot of people just fall into the pattern of like going not down an algorithm, but they follow a pattern of
Hmm.
beliefs without questioning it. Like kind of like when we were
Hmm.
talking about religion the other day, where we were asking you these questions, and you're like, "Well, I haven't really thought about that." Right? I think it's
Yeah.
good to sort of get a magnifying glass and look at what you believe and try to figure out maybe why, or if you have good reasons, or like maybe you don't have good reasons, and is this an important belief? Maybe you should look into it. Can you justify it? Like, or maybe I can get rid of it without fundamentally changing my entire worldview. Like, I think stuff like that's
Yeah.
good. It's just
I
generally
do too.
good to hold up a mirror and figure out, like, am I full of shit a little bit? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And conversations like
Which
that
I
can
do
help
not
it.
think so as a Christian. But yeah, I agree with you though.
Yeah.
You always trying to
Um,
pit me on the ropes.
we were just asking good questions.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and I think it is good, just as like almost a sanity check for like the people watching him, because even the people watching were like, "Well, this guy's."
Yeah.
There was that one guy, I can't remember what his name was. He was like, "Well, this sounds really good, other than the fact that it's like a fantasy land." I'm like, the point of politics is to make the world you want. Like we have the power to
Yeah.
do that, right?
And
Um,
I don't know which one you were watching, but there was also another comment section. Did you know that? Because he had like a vertical and a horizontal
oh, was he on like
live.
TikTok or
I think
something?
yeah, I think one was for like YouTube Shorts and the other one was so if you're like scrolling through Shorts, you could see it. Anyway, I kept going back between both because the video kept messing up.
Mm.
It turned out fine,
Yeah, I was
but
just
yeah,
watching the
like
normal YouTube or
well, the
chat.
one that was all right. So the one that was designed like a short that had a couple of people in there that were like, "This is really good." Like, I
Oh, I
agree
didn't
with
see that.
I yeah, yeah. I'll show it to you. I'll
Hmm.
send it. Well, I don't know if he deleted that one or not. I think because he said after that he was like, "From now on, I'm just gonna do the regular YouTube video because this gets crazy with comments coming from both angles."
Yeah.
But and it's probably bad for numbers too. I feel like it would be better for numbers to do it all in one. But I think that's a stream. I'm going off on a tangent. I think that's a StreamYard thing
Okay.
where you can do both at the same time.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty. All right. I don't know. You got anything else on that? I think it would be dope to have him on. I don't
Mhm.
know how interesting the conversation would be compared to like just me and him, because I think him and Silver probably agree on a lot.
Mhm.
But it could be fun. I'm definitely not opposed to it if he's down. Um,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There were a couple
I would be
other.
into it, man. I thought it was a really cool situation. I wish that there was more of it on the internet.
Well, and the other
I
thing
really do.
is like I think he definitely had an idea in his mind what I was trying to say or the arguments I was going to make, because he kept saying like I don't care about the emotions, or like or
Mhm.
acting like I was trying to paint him as racist, which I wasn't. Like, and I
Yeah.
ended up having to come in and clarify several times, because he was like, "You're just trying to make me feel bad for them," and I was like, "No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the practical aspects of like immigration, not like you should feel bad for these people."
Yeah.
And I think it's good in that way as well, to like as another sort of sanity check, to be like, this is what you think I'm saying, but here's what I'm actually, or this is what you think the other side is saying, and here's what they're actually saying.
Yeah. And learning people's practicalities, is that a word? Practicality? Learning people's practicalities. Like what's practical to me might not be practical to you.
Mm,
But a lot of people like you, um, I think that you actually assumed like a lot of people assume that people's practicalities. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I think that a lot of y'all feel like it should be the same for everybody because we all kind of live in the same place and do the same things. But I think that a lot of things change what's practical to you, whether that be religion, whether that be politics, whether that be even within religion, like what church you go to, what like there's so many things that could change what's practical in a sense to you. And I think that that's another dope thing about quote unquote splitting the difference
mhm.
is learning what's practical to you, what's real life to you. And then there's a lot of people that like think that the internet is real life, you know?
Too many people. Um, cool.
It's True.
Yeah, we'll have to get back with him at some point. I don't know.
Mhm.
Whenever he wants to do another one of those streams, I'll see. Maybe we can do something together.
Did you see Trump and Jake Paul interview?
I saw that it happened. I didn't watch it. I mean,
Trump said, "Are you going to run for president one day, young man?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think I will."
yeah, after he's been concussed a bunch of times by
Yeah.
boxing or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be in perfect shape
Great,
for that.
great decision making skills, man, in
Well,
that one.
I
Yeah,
saw
absolutely.
somebody pointed it out. I don't know where it was, but they were like, the first sit down interview the president has done since we've gone to war or gone to the excursion in Iran,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, is with fucking Jake Paul, bro. That's just crazy to me. We're in like a weird alternate
Well,
timeline.
what's even crazier, man, is Jake Paul said in the interview, he was like, "Your people are really cool, man. Like they didn't tell me what I could or couldn't ask or nothing." And then it was really a Jake Paul interview. You know what I mean? Trump was like, how's it feel to be a fighter? When did you start fighting? Did your jaw hurt when they broke it?" I would have been asking him crazy questions, bro. I wish I had an opportunity to sit down with Trump and that was the real case. Like they really didn't.
Well,
You
I
can ask
think they
whatever you want.
knew Jake
All
Paul
right.
wasn't going to ask the hard hitting questions, you know? Like,
Yeah. Same with like Theo Vaughn, right?
yeah.
It's like
Which,
Joe Rogan could have been great.
I
I
mean,
feel like it was pretty great, but
I, it wasn't really
he
that
just
good,
sold.
though.
He just sold himself really well, man. Joe didn't push back at all
Yeah, I don't.
because he didn't think he needed to. If Joe had another opportunity to interview him, I think it would be a lot better.
I don't know. I remember
There's
not being
so many
super impressed by
questions.
that. I used to watch a decent amount of the Joe Rogan stuff, and I don't think the Trump one was like particularly phenomenal. It's like, what's it like to be president? And Trump's like, the Lincoln bed is really big, and it's like, that's what you got, man. Like nothing about like aliens or nukes or like anything
He
cool.
really just sold himself as a human, man. That's
Yeah,
what won the election to me is him going on Joe Rogan. And maybe if your old girl Kamala would have got up there, man, it might have changed for her too. I mean, Rogan humanizes you, you know? That's why he asks questions that are just like, "What's up, dog? What you been up to?" Like
for
it just
better or worse.
humanizes him.
But the
For
crazy
better
thing
or for worse.
is like he's self-aware enough to think that it's dangerous for him to have Gavin Newsom on, but he'll have
I
all
wonder
these other
why.
crazy
Why do you
people
think that
on.
is?
I think he said
Why do
it
you think
before. He
that?
said he thinks Newsom is too slippery. He thinks he's like a propagandist who will basically like get the better of
Mm.
him and like use him as a useful idiot, which is so ironic considering.
Oh, that
But
is
I mean,
crazy to say.
he straight up said something along those lines where he said like, the guy's too slippery. He doesn't trust him, to be honest, and he thinks he'll like manipulate him or whatever.
I think that's a cop out.
I
I think that's a
agree.
cop out.
I mean, I
Yeah.
I think he's being genuine, but I think it's kind of stupid, especially considering his current takes on Trump and how he's been saying that Trump has done a 180 on everything. But maybe Trump is what gave him the self-awareness to realize that he can be manipulated like that.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. I imagine sometimes with 16,000 subscribers, what it would be like to have 1.6 million or 6.7 million. And I know that he lives by this code of like, I just do what I do. I don't check anything. I don't read comments. I don't look at any of that, which I feel like that's in all honesty, I feel like that's easier to do when you have 6 million followers versus you're trying to grow something, right? But I almost feel like I wish he just had somebody on his team that could like get the overall gist of what people are saying and just say, "Hey, this is what they thought about that. This is what they thought about that." Because I think it would be really good for him to get a Gavin Newsom interview
I think it would be
and
dope.
humanize Gavin.
Gavin does pretty good job with his podcasts. I mean, I've only watched a few of them, but he did Charlie Kirk, he did Steve Bannon, he did I can't remember the other
Ben
ones, but he did like
Ben
a bunch. I
Shapiro.
think Ben Shapiro, yeah, a bunch of the
Mhm.
mainstream, yeah, right leaning figures. So I think if he can do that, I don't see what Joe is so afraid of. But um,
And he said he likes Joe,
yeah, I mean, it's
which
hard
I mean
not
that's
to.
it is. He's dope.
That's the whole, that's his whole appeal is he's just chill, likable dude. But I think it is kind of weird to kind of like. it falls back to the original beef with 2P1 to like kind of bash somebody a little bit or talk bad about their character, but not be willing to talk to them. I don't know. It's a little icky to me. And
Yeah.
I'll amend that obviously now, and I respect the hell out of the fact that he did end up talking to me. So I hope that ends up changing with
Oh,
Gavin
the
as well.
feeling's mutual too. He said the same thing about you. He was like, "I respect the hell out of him for coming up here and talking with me, man." I don't know if I should say that publicly. I always don't know if I should say things publicly or not, but because his
So
fans might get pissed. But
I'm
I think it was really cool. I thought it was a super dope uh, conversation.
I'm curious on the topic of softballs and not being hard enough on people. Um,
Hmm.
so I watched half of your Tom McDonald anti
Yeah,
what do you call it? Uh
anti
no
reaction. It's a
reaction.
music
Okay.
reaction.
I didn't want
Yeah.
you're very delicate about commentary,
Yeah, yeah,
reaction,
yeah, yeah.
whatever. Okay.
Well, because there's
Reaction.
breakdowns and then there's reactions and then there's reviews. I mean, they
Convenience
all
store,
are
gas
different.
station.
Like a reaction is more so to me like, I like this.
Okay.
Whereas like a breakdown is like, okay, let me pause every 4 bars and tell you exactly what
Wait,
he's
so which
saying
is it?
here.
A
Let me break
breakdown or
this down.
reaction? 'Cause I feel like
Reaction.
okay. I feel like you were pausing
I
it
break
consistently.
down stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I
Regardless,
break down stuff too, but
I watched the Webby one and I watched the Tom McDonald one.
yeah.
And I'm not even a big, I'm not into that type of music. But I thought I thought
Yeah,
Webby's it had like, it sounded good. But here's my issue. So I feel and
yeah.
Silver, Silver's with me on this and I wish
Oh
he was
god.
here
Yeah.
so we could gang up on
I'm
you.
glad he is not.
um So I feel like you went soft on Webby a little bit, but my main
I
issue
did.
is there were a couple lines where it sounded like direct calls to violence. And I feel like there's a certain line you have to draw on stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I've got the
I
line
don't
here. Well,
alright, go ahead.
so
Go
I've
ahead. Give
got
me
the
the
line
line.
here. It says, "Don't get
Alright.
distracted. It's time to load this chamber and aim at the head of the monster now."
Alright. But that's hip hop, and you're thinking about it in terms of but that's their fault because you're thinking so I'm not disagreeing with you, but my job as a hip hop commentator is not to call out calls to violence, right? Like my job is just to talk about the music, how it's perceived, and for me specifically, I try to uh, align my reactions with like a relatability thread that makes people relate to the music. So I'm with you. If it was like a political commentary that I was reacting to, I would say, "Hey, he shouldn't say that. He's, running for president of the United States of America or he's a senator." But with rappers, you can't do that, bro. I mean, all of the rappers have calls to violence. Like Ti just dissed 50 Cent and his 16-year-old son or something said that he was gonna like blast 50 in the face. Like, I'm not gonna call out all of that because like a lot of that stuff is battle culture within hip hop. But with Webby, I do get where you're coming from because they're specifically talking about political
Well,
matters.
that's what I was gonna
So
say is it is
yeah,
political commentary. It is both music and political
it is.
commentary. I mean,
It is.
the entire song he's talking about the Jews, Bill Gates, John Podesta, Barack. I mean, he
Yeah.
made
And
George
when he
W.
says
Bush,
taking a
Bono,
shot,
like
so let's break that down though, right? Because like when he says like taking a shot at the head of the monster or whatever, I don't think he's meaning like the Jews. And uh, I, as a creator, maybe he should try to figure out a better way to metaphorically talk about taking down the system. But I think that that's what he's saying is like we need to take down the system, and maybe that just wasn't the best metaphor for it.
did you watch The Boys, the TV show?
Mhm.
Prime show?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I've
Classic.
told you about this scene before, but you remember the scene where there's that guy and he's day in day out watching Stormfront and Homelander talking about how like the immigrants are evil, and it's like a time lapse of like 100 days where he's watching and they're talking about the evil immigrants, evil immigrants, evil immigrants, and he goes to
Mhm.
the convenience store and he sees like a Muslim guy behind the counter, and he starts getting
Yeah.
suspicious and he ends up killing the guy. Right? I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm worried about with stuff like this.
That's
Where
the
like,
danger.
yeah, we're and we even talked. I
Well,
talked with.
me too.
Okay.
No, I'm listening to you.
Well,
Sorry,
I was
go
gonna say
ahead.
I
I didn't mean to
talked to
cut you off.
2P1 a little bit about this, about how there's like extremists on both sides, and like
Mhm.
I think a lot of the problem with a lot of the conspiratorial stuff is there's no outlet. Like it's like, oh, this evil cabal of people controls the world and they're
Right.
killing babies, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? And then suddenly, you because there's nothing to do, they control the government, they control everything. You're just a little guy. And then you have this guy like, oh, it's time to kill the monster, and then he starts naming all these names and naming these groups of people. And then, like, what happens if you have
Mhm.
just one fucking crazy guy who's listening to the song, or who listens to the song and watches the wrong YouTuber, and ends up doing something insane, like driving a fucking thing of explosives into a synagogue and shooting? And granted, that was
I
obviously
agree,
not tied to hip
actually.
hop or anything, but I mean, just a week ago there was that whole thing where there was an active shooter in a synagogue, and God knows whatever the hell is going to go on this week and the next week.
It's a good conversation, but because I especially with rap music, because I do feel like it's dangerous on one hand. On the other hand, like as a reviewer, a reactor, I feel like I do have an obligation to say what I said, which is, uh, let's not go crazy with conspiracies here and act like they're just straight up truth that we can prove 100%. And then you see comments from people I respect, even you see comments that are like, you just don't understand, bro. It is 100% proof. And I'm like, I don't know about that, bro. But it's you do your best to call it out in that. I do my best to call it out in that way,
Hmm.
so I don't have to impede on his freedom of speech. Like I would never say like you can't say this or you can't say that,
You can say you
but I will
shouldn't say
try.
this.
But well, I don't know. Like with that relatability thread that I was talking about, I will try my best as somebody that influences to say maybe don't relate to it because it's a theory, you know what I mean? Instead of because like I don't know, man, like there's so many there like what if he wants to just like Eminem has a song called Stan. I'm sure you've heard it before. It's a story about an obsessed fan who ends up it's a story about an obsessed fan that just like writes letters to Eminem. The first three verses are Stan writing letters to Eminem, and he's obsessed. And like he has a baby mama and she's pregnant. And then the third verse, because he got no response back from Eminem and he felt like he was being ignored, he puts her in the trunk of his car and drives it off of a bridge, kills him, the baby mom, and the baby. And Eminem finally responds in the fourth verse before realizing, oh, it's too late. This
Did this
I don't
actually
want this to
happen?
happen to you. No,
Oh, okay.
but but it could. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's gotten close a couple of times. Eminem's house got broken into. I mean, and he's like in his late 50s at this point, and his house got broken into recently by some obsessed fan that was trying to like who knows what, like kill him, hug him. I don't know, but there is a danger to it because people are heavily influenced by music. Um, so I don't know. There's a line there. There's definitely a line there. I just don't know where I want to draw it.
Yeah. Well, that was my point. Is I feel like the good place to draw it is at like calls to violence that are ambiguous enough to where somebody might take it as like, oh, I should go try to take a shot at Bill Gates. Like
Yeah,
that's
I
where
and
I
I
would go
understand that.
personally.
And there,
But I mean,
there's
obviously,
also
it's your
like a there's also like I don't know, man, like a heroic like the a lot of people are looking at this as like a heroic song, like or like for instance that thumbnail that I sent you with like they might try to come and get him for this. And his comment in his comment section, which I can't let go of, man. But at the end of the day, he's feeding his fan base, and he doesn't see a harm in that. I don't think. Um, because like if you're crazy enough to take it to that extreme, would you be crazy enough to do it regardless of the music, you think? Or do you think that the music plays such a vital role that it solely lays on the artist's hands when something like that happens?
I think it's like an additive thing. I think like the more
Okay.
people legitimize it, the worse it gets. So, like,
And it does become legitimized through comments and
yeah,
through,
I
"Hey,
think
do this again,"
I think
you
it's
know?
one of those things that, like, I don't wanna say fight, but it's like we have to combat it on all fronts. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. Like, I sent you those studies, and there were studies that basically polled like some some Harris voters and some general Democrats, and then in December they polled some just generic Republicans and Trump voters, and there was some interesting stuff there. I mean, I'm surprised that the like quote unquote like woke coalition of the Democrats was as large as it is. It said like 11% were um, either democratic socialist or communist. It was only 1% communist, 10% democratic socialist. But then you look at like the GOP stuff, and I didn't get as into the Democrat side, but there was a lot of like Republican stuff where it's like 45% of them think that like modern medicine and vaccines do more harm than good, which is crazy to me.
Wow.
Or like another
Wow.
huge percent are like more inclined to believe a conspiracy just because experts call it a conspiracy theory. Like, uh,
That's scary, honestly.
yeah, I mean,
That is kinda scary. 45% is a large number. But are like this one of those times where I'm like, "Man, that" I I feel like if you like Chris Webby is the last person we need to be talking about taking accountability. I feel like we need to really be like on all of these conservatives, like once they see conservative creators, once they see something like that, that should be heavily reported on. I feel like
yeah,
I
but
would do it if I was like a genuine 100% conservative. I would be like, hey guys, and this is partly why it's hard to lean one way or the other, man. I feel like everything gets associated with nonsense. And then you get lost in the nonsense and forget about what matters. And I think that's where all of us are.
I've said it before. That's part of the point, though. It's like by design. People want to distract you with a bunch of extra bullshit so you don't focus on the
Yeah.
real issues. Like,
Right. And that's not so much of a conspiracy anymore. That's just the truth. I think that was a conspiracy for a while. Was they're distracting us. They're not telling us the truth about something. They're doing stuff
well,
behind the scenes while they're throwing this in our face. And then just one day it was like, oh, that's reality.
I
Like
don't
that's really
know.
what's happening.
I don't know if that's even like, I don't know if they're even hiding anything. Like, everything bad that I would say is happening right now is being done out in the open. The problem is the vast majority of people are too distracted by whatever's going on over here to see all the crazy shit
Mm.
that's going on over there.
What do you propose they do about what that? What do you?
Be more
How do you?
informed.
I almost feel like that's saying, all right, I would say if we could do a percentage research on this and poll how many people think that they are informed on today's politics,
Oh,
what
I'm
that
sure
number
they
would
do. I'm
be.
sure a huge percentage think they're informed. But the problem
That's
is
the issue,
they're treating politicians as influencers
correct?
and believing every single word out of their mouth, and they're
On their
taking that
side.
as information. Yes. And
Mhm.
like just unquestioningly believing every single thing that they say because it already agrees with their preconceived notions of the
Their
world.
narrative. Yep. Yeah.
So here
I
it
don't know
is.
what to do
Which
about that,
comes
man.
closer to your view
That's
about
dangerous.
conspiracy theories? When and this is 45% said when experts or authorities dismiss something as a conspiracy theory, are more likely to think it might be true and threatening to those in power. So, and then you have the 2020 US presidential election was decided by fraudulent ballots or hacking voting machines. Definitely true, 24%, probably true, 27%.
That's not that bad. I figured it would be more.
51% on think it's true, either definitely or
Oh, I
probably.
thought you said 27. I
No,
thought
so
what's the 27?
27% is probably true, 24%
Probably true.
definitely true.
Damn.
So at
Oh,
least
no.
51% think it's true that Fraudulent ballots or hacked voting machines rigged the 2020 election.
And you personally, if you wanted to, in front of anybody that came to you, no matter how big or small, you say you can prove them wrong.
Me? Oh, easily. Dude,
Mhm.
it's so easy.
Okay. Well, I'm asking you it like that because where, like, I think it comes down to where people get their information too, because like you said, if you're going to influencers for information and you trust in them, and then they give you a link that takes you over here to show you these things and show you these statistics, they lean on this. And you don't really know what's real and what's fake anymore, especially with AI
But
blowing up. Like,
the thing is like if you look at it's like the Candace Owens thing. It's a lot of like weird stuff that is maybe a little suspicious that they try to pin together to make something concrete. So
right.
we were having this conversation a while ago in the group chat where I can't remember exactly what it is, but like if I'm 0% certain that there's an uh invisible teapot that orbits the earth, right? If there's one
Okay.
weird thing, if there's like a weird phenomenon that happens in space that we can't understand, that isn't proof of an invisible teapot floating around the
Of an
world.
invisible
And
teapot.
there could be a
Right.
million weird things that happen in outer space, but those million weird things aren't 0.01% certainty that eventually add up to 100%. There still should be 0% certainty because there's been no connection to that actual conclusion.
Imaginary teapot.
But
There's no tea pouring out of the sky.
exactly. But people
Mhm.
see a few weird things and they're like, "Oh, well, I mean it kind of lines up with maybe that there's this like weird conspiracy that like NASA is trying to convince us that the earth is flat." And like, "Oh, like I dropped this thing and it didn't roll, so maybe the earth is flat." And,
Mhm.
what is it? Like, "Oh, planes, they don't travel in straight lines, they travel in curved lines." Or they don't travel in
Right.
curved lines,
For
they
the
travel
flat
in
earth.
straight lines. So that's a little bit weird. So maybe that's another percent towards the flat earth. And then, you add up all these random things that they just don't understand. And suddenly they become 100% sure, even though none of those should actually add any certainty to the idea that the earth is flat. And I
I
think it's,
wonder how much of this comes from people, I wonder how much of this comes from people that are kinda, like, unhappy with their home life, so they thrive in the community of the people that believe this
I think
stuff,
there's a lot
you
of
know?
that. So two things. So, um, a lot of the voting stuff is that where it's like
Mhm.
there was this voting procedure that wasn't properly followed, but the thing with ballots and these voting procedures is there's a shit ton of redundancy. Like everything has to get signed off on like 7 different times and checked and signed off, and that's how we know any of the issues that we have found with the procedures. We know that certain things weren't signed off on or certain memory cards weren't stored properly or whatever it might be. um, and these are what people point to, and they're like, "See, the memory cards weren't stored properly. The memory cards weren't wiped properly. Therefore, it must have been hacked, right?" Um, but the reason we know that is because there's so many redundancies. But then they'll point to one failure of one single redundancy and say, "There, they didn't get the signatures at this particular point. Therefore, it must have been rigged." Meanwhile, if you look into it and follow the system, they know that it was signed off on at two separate points to make sure that the one failure point didn't actually affect the actual outcome of the election.
But they
Um,
have to trust the people that report that information.
yeah, but the problem is like how big of a conspiracy can it possibly be? Like you've got the
Yeah.
governor, you've got the secretary of state, you've got all of the courts. I mean, you've got all of the auditors, you've got all of the people who volunteered, like you've got the people who did the recounts 3 times. I mean, at what point is it not just simpler to be like, okay, it sounds like he just lost. Like, and then if you actually look, and people say, oh, Fulton County, there were ballot dumps, all these other things, and you can actually look at the historical voting trends of these people, and they're not that wildly different.
Mhm.
It's like,
Well, people on the same token, I feel like this is kinda looping back to what you were saying in the beginning, but people are gonna look at it like, "Okay, I believe Trump because the cabal said that he was the, you know, Christ reincarnate, basically, and he's here to save the world. I believe Trump. I believe this rapper that says it in a song, and I believe this influencer. over those people that were checking and rechecking the ballots because I don't even know who they are. And I think that that's another dangerous place is because people are even with me and you and what we're doing here, like people shouldn't take this, even though I do feel like we're pretty real about who we are on here. People shouldn't take this as validity. Like I agree with you. You should learn more information, go do your own research. Um, but I think that stuff like this is more important than one side leaning anything. I mean, I just think it's important. It's just important to have conversations with people that don't align with you,
Well, and
which goes back to you and 2P1, which I thought was so dope.
to your point of like people with bad home lives, it was funny.
Mhm.
There was a part in the Manhattan Institute study that I was talking about that analyzed Democrats and they're like where they place themselves on the I guess Overton window.
Mm.
It said members of this. So talking about the woke fringe, the Democrat socialists and the communists, members of this group also are also significantly more likely than other Democrats to report poor mental health. 25% of them compared to 14% of moderates and 16% of progressive liberals. I would imagine that's probably mirrored on the other side as well, where people tend to skew toward the extremes when they're more disgruntled or more angry in their home life or more, screwed over by society.
Right. It's an excuse. In a lot of ways. Well, it's like another something else to blame your unhappiness on other than looking in the mirror. And I think that like as addicts we do that, right? Where it's like, anybody but me. This can't be my fault. Look what happened with my father when I was young. Look what happened to my mother when I was 20. Look what happened to my friendship over here. And then, this girl that I was with when she was 16 cheated on me. And now I feel like the whole world is against me. And it's not my fault that I'm on drugs. And it's a learned behavior. And a lot of people, like, let's say this, right? Like, I think that the behavior doesn't just align with addiction. So if I never would have faced my addiction, I may still be that way today. I might would have never learned, hey, you got to look at yourself here. And I think that that's something else that a lot of people need to do is learn how to just look in the mirror and say, what can I do to benefit and make things better? And I think that's just a healthier mindset, which leads to I dare I say, healthier outlooks on all of this stuff,
Yeah, I mean,
Not just
we personally know a ton of people from the vape industry that have fallen prey to this. Where like there are people who had massively successful companies in 2014, 2015, 2016 who went on a huge decline and ended up going out of business. And now all they say is, "Oh, the government screwed me over. The government fucked me over so bad. It's such bullshit, blah
yeah,
blah blah."
yeah.
Like you had millions of dollars, endless opportunity to do whatever you wanted, and you blew it on fast cars and random bullshit, didn't invest it, didn't ever really try to take any effort to grow your business properly because, you were one of the OGs and you got in for free. And
Mhm.
now you're just some random fucking loser who had a cool success story and nothing to show for it because,
Nothing to show for it.
and all you got is excuses basically. And it's nice to be able to blame the government. But
But
you got
it's
to take
not
some
beneficial.
responsibility. Yeah, exactly. You got to take some responsibility for it at the end of the day. Um,
Yeah.
and I think I think a lot of it. I think a lot of the extremes. Bro, my allergies have been so bad. The pollen in the south
Me
is
too.
so brutal. But I think like the far right is crazy about blaming everything on the government, and I think the far left it just blames everything on society. Oh, society's so racist. Society's hates me. Society's trying to keep me down. And they
Yeah,
both they're both aggrieved in different directions. It's just the person they blame is different.
that's true. That's very true. We're gonna attack it one episode at a time. We'll figure it out, man. We'll save the world.
I mean, I don't. But it's like I said. I think everybody needs to do their little part, and I mean, I think it's uncomfortable in a
I
lot
do
of
too.
ways. But I think holding people accountable for their own bullshit is pretty important, and we're really bad at
I
doing it nowadays.
100% agree.
Like we're
I
so bad at it.
100% agree. 150% agree, actually. Like, I totally agree, and I
Because
think that that would save so many
I
people
mean,
from.
you've got examples in your personal life where you're very much like you try to help people a lot. And my grandpa told
Mhm.
me this ages ago. My grandpa and I didn't have a great relationship, but one of the few pieces of advice he gave me is like, you know what, Dylan, the people who you help the most are the ones who are going to try to fuck you over the hardest. Which I don't even necessarily agree, but I think there is a certain type of person that is a very needy type of person that you try
Yeah.
a lot to help, and eventually,
Mhm.
because they're eventually when you run out of energy to put into them, they will eventually just turn on you and try to stab you in the back.
They
So
do, but it doesn't take away, for me anyway, it doesn't take away, like, I've even told, like, Brandon before, I'm like, "Bro, this is selfish for me. I want you to know, like, I'm thankful you're appreciative, but it's like, I have to do this. I don't know what it is. It's just something inside of me that's like, let me put my arm around him and help him out." And I don't know why. But I feel like I need to do it, and I feel like there's a lot of people out here that just feel like they need to help others. So those blood-sucking vampires that suck you dry and just leave you, you know, I honestly don't even fault them sometimes, man. Like, I've had different situations where there's situations where people come to you like, "Okay, I look up to you. I love how your life is laid out. I wanna know how to do that." And they'll walk with you for 2 years, and you give them the blueprint, and then they turn on you. And then there's, like, a different person that I don't know, it's like they literally wanna suck your energy from you like a vampire, and it's not even about turning on you, it's like jealousy kicks in, and the lack of work ethic kicks in, and then it's like you're a fraud to them,
yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, my main
And
thing is just like you can try to help someone, try to help someone, try to help someone, and then you criticize them even the tiniest bit, and then suddenly completely forget everything good you've ever done, and they're like, why you, what's your fucking deal, man? Like I can't do anything
mhm,
right. Like, and it's like,
mhm,
what do you mean? Like, so I just think we need
yeah,
to normalize like be a little critical, call someone out if they do some dumbass shit, man.
agreed,
It's not that deep.
agreed.
But I
I
mean,
agree.
especially God knows the kids today are so fucked. I mean, I was just talking with a friend of mine, and she's, her niece and her nieces are just like, their mom just will never let them ever endure any discomfort anywhere. Oh, mom,
Mm,
I'm having trouble making friends at school, and the girls are a little mean to me, so I need to come home. And so they just keep getting pulled out of school anytime they're having a bad day, so they don't have to endure any discomfort. And the mom's like, "Oh, well, maybe we should, homeschool." And it's like, that's
I
the
think that
answer.
that's dangerous too. I think that's dangerous too. Yeah, that's not the answer. I think that you have to force them to go through those situations, especially if you're blessed. Like, that's all I have for my kids. Like, my kids they don't need anything, man, and they have pretty much everything they want. They're relatively spoiled. So the only opportunity that me and Lindsay talk about this all the time, the only opportunities that we have to mold them and shape them to not act spoiled and not be little spoiled little brats is those exact types of situations, and forcing them to push through it. It's the only way they'll learn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important, and I think it's not done enough. Especially, that's a lot of the issue is like the internet. You can find people to agree with you on anything at any time. Especially with
Mhm.
AI, fuck man, like AI will agree
Yeah.
with you on anything. Like that's literally what it's designed for is confirmation bias
Yeah.
or affirming you or
Yeah,
whatever.
it is, dude.
Like, and I think a lot of people don't quite understand. Like, if you ask AI like certain types of questions, it will just guaranteed give you the answer. It's like, hey, show me, this one particular thing, and it'll like craft out of nothing. It'll just create something
It
new to
will.
try to show you
Yeah.
what you want to see. And it's like, what's it called? It's not like schizophrenia. AI induced psychosis. It's got a weird word. It's got a
Yeah.
weird name, but it's like it's a thing now. And I think, oh
It's
man,
crazy.
it's fucked how
That's
fragile
how the
people are.
algorithm that's how the algorithm becomes real. It leaves the internet through I feel like, because that's algorithmic. It's
Well, I think it
it's
leaves the
feeding you.
internet through people who believe the bullshit.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, the more people who Google, who search something on Chat GPT or Grok and come up with something fake. And I honestly, I'll give Grok some credit. I don't mind it for certain things. Like, it's good for just like running through raw data or trying to find a certain quote. Like, I've looked, has so and so YouTuber said this particular thing, or what video was it?
Mhm.
Um, but man, for
Oh,
like
it's
fact
great,
checking, you
dude.
really just have to take everything with a grain of salt.
Like, bro, it's incredible stuff, like, if you use it right, if you use it the right way, like, fitness can be very complicated, right? Like, and I'll have like Huberman Labs is somebody that I listen to, but he's very scientific with it. So like, I literally just didn't. It was like a 45-minute video. I watched maybe 2 minutes of it. Took it, copied it, pasted it into the thing. I said, "Hey, break this video down for me and give me a workout plan based on this video." And I went back and I looked, and it was dead on, bro. But you need to go back and look and make sure it's not giving you some kind of fluff. But
Yeah,
it it was it was spot on.
there was a guy who used Chat GPT to like craft a cure for his dog's cancer or some shit by like going through his entire genome and crafting this
Really,
crazy yeah, just like insane shit. So I don't know. I
that's
mean,
cool, bro. Yeah, that's cool though. If people use it right, this could be the coolest thing in the world. But you got to
yeah,
use it right.
it's definitely like an
Yeah,
accelerator. It's one of those things that, like,
yeah,
just amplifies everything and makes things move faster, which I guess could be good. I mean, who knows? We
yeah.
might live forever somehow through AI.
I don't know about that, but I don't. Do you want that? Do you want to live forever?
Uh, I don't know. I think about this sometimes because I'm not a religious guy, and I'm almost getting to the
Yeah,
point where I've been like, it's almost the majority of my life that I haven't been religious, which is kind of weird because I started
yeah.
like, I think freshman year. So maybe, I mean, I'm like right at that point. Where like,
That's a good conversation we should have on another episode, maybe even with Silver present. I feel
yeah,
like
I'm
that's a really good
curious.
conversation. Do you wanna live forever?
I don't think forever. It's kind of a trope of like sci-fi and fantasy of like
Yeah,
living forever is a curse in a way, but I think living forever
yeah,
would be kind of dope too. It depends on what kind of forever, because I mean, obviously in your position,
yeah, right,
you want to get to heaven, so
right,
living
yeah.
forever is a curse. But like
And I
for
think that
me,
there's something to it, like something to getting old and dying. I don't know, there's something like
it
an
is kind of a
accomplishment
beautiful
feel to it.
thing, yeah.
Mhm.
If you had to do it and you
But
were
for you, what?
lonely, it
Oh,
depends
yeah,
on the
that's true.
quality of life too. I mean, if you're like old and achy and shitty and you can't like and
Mm.
just stuck, then it wouldn't be fun to live forever. But if you
Yeah,
could
that
be
would suck.
30 forever or 40 or whatever it is, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Um, and if you, I don't know, like what's the capacity on a human brain? Like if you live
Yeah,
for
like, what
500
a
years, do you just go crazy? But I mean, if it was practical, I think it'd be cool to live for a few thousand years, maybe. See what
there's
happens.
definitely a lot of people out there that I feel like wouldn't figure it out even after 5,000 years, bro. I think they would still be in the same loop on the same hamster wheel.
I mean, I
A
feel
lot. There a lot of people.
really, I feel like people
So,
old people are really conservative, but I feel like people kind of mellow out as they get older.
yeah, well, people's behavior would change too if you think about it.
Yeah,
I think people's behavior is different because they know that they're gonna die one day, you know? And waking up feeling like every day is a blessing, that can change your whole mindset.
yeah,
We should talk about that on the next one for sure. I feel like that's a great conversation to have.
yeah. I'm down. I do think about it periodically. I'm like, am I worried about death? Because that's like the whole thing. But I don't know. I don't really think about it that much, unless it was painful. That would obviously suck. But yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah,
it with Silver. That'll be fun.
yeah, yeah, it will be. Well,
All
I
right.
have fun, man.
Yeah, me
I'm gonna
too.
dip out of here.
All right.
Um, yeah, the OG split the difference. What y'all know about it?
Yeah, I'll have
All
to
right,
set
bro.
up the stream setup where we can actually react to videos. We could maybe pull up some clips next time.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right.
And hopefully Silver will start doing it with you by himself sometimes when I can't make it too. I want to watch one of those. I feel like that would be good too. In the same way I enjoyed watching you in 2P1, I feel like I would enjoy that too. It'd be
Yeah,
fun.
we'll have to. We'll see.
I think he's
I,
scared, bro.
oh yeah, I think so too, for sure.
All right,
He
man.
saw
Have a
how I
good
love
night.
2P1.
Yeah.
Just kidding.